Hi everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Osereme, and in today's video I am going to be showing you guys the second part of the making of this dress, where I try to recreate a beautiful dress I saw on Vicky James. So if this is what you're interested in, keep on watching. In my last tutorial I shared the pattern drafting. If you're yet to see that, I'm going to be linking it down in the description box so that you can go ahead and check it out. So if this is something you're interested in, definitely keep on watching and let us get started. So in the last video, I showed you guys how I went about the cutting of these pieces. These are the front pieces, as you can see, with the cut at the middle. And I've gone ahead to draft out everything on my fabric, just tracing the pattern paper into my fabric. And I went ahead to also cut out lining for each of the pieces. Now, please make sure you're using a lining that fits the color or fabric that you're working with. Initially, I thought that this would not need a lining, until later I realized that it's not actually strong enough to stand on its own. So I decided to line it with the fabric that I had available. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is the back patterns that we cut out earlier. Also cut out lining pieces for them. So I'm going to go ahead now and line all of the pieces. Now, the way I intend to line this is quite different from what I usually always do. I want to line these pieces with my weaving machine. But if you do not have a weaving machine, you can just go ahead and line your pieces the normal way you know how to go about lining them, right? So basically, to do this, I'm going to place my actual fabric the right sides to face me, just as it is right now, and then the lining to be on the bottom part. So I'm just going to basically just stitch all the way around with my weaving machine. So after I was done, this is what it looks like. So it's just very simple, and it actually prevents you from wasting a lot of your fabric. So I've lined this one. You can see I just weaved all the way around because this fabric frays a lot. I cannot even explain it. Mikado silk, with like the way it comes out, I just wanted to make sure that I had taken care of all of that. So this way I lined it up nicely and everything was looking neat. So now, with this being done, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to take off the side dart. Remember, we had a place where we marked out earlier for our side dart. I'm going to go ahead and sew it in here. Okay, just sew it in nicely by about 3 inches in, or 4 inches, depending on your size, right? And then here I would do it here as well, and also on the waist for the front pattern. So now this is what I had after I was done stitching down the side dart. On the part that is bigger, I also stitched down the waist dart as well, and this is what I have. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to join these pieces together at the center, and I'm just going to go ahead and pin it down first. So now I'm going to go ahead and stitch down from here to somewhere around here, just the areas I've pinned down. I'll leave about 3 inches away from the top before I start stitching, and then leave about 5 inches away from the bottom. So here will be open and the bottom will be open as well when I make that stitch to join the pieces. Now after that, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch down my darts on the back patterns and then join them on the shoulders. All right, so you can see now that I've taken away the side dart of the front, the waist area of the front and the back actually aligns perfectly. All right, so that's what I was trying to explain to you guys in the last video, where we were taking the front waist measurement to be longer. So now I'm going to go ahead and align the pieces together, right sides facing each other, and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch down the shoulders. So now I'm done stitching down the shoulders, and this is what I have. You can see how neat it looks. I always make sure to iron everything when I'm done and just weave it up again so that it looks neat. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to work on my sleeve. So for my sleeve, I have my fabric folded into four, just because I want to cut the both of them together, both the left and right. So now I'm going ahead to draw a straight line across the top of the fold that I have, which is going to serve as our starting line. Now from the starting line here, I'm going to go ahead and measure down about 4 inches here on this side. You can do 3.5 depending on how deep you want it to be. And then I'm just using my free hand to create a curve for my armhole. Now I have a tutorial on the channel already on how to go about drafting out a sleeve. I already know how to do this with my free hand. If you don't, you can go ahead and watch that video on how to draft a sleeve from scratch. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is, from the center, I'm going to measure half of my armhole depth, which is somewhere around here, plus allowances. So I added allowance before I marked it here. So just to make sure I'm in the right part, half of my armhole depth plus some extra allowances, it's actually right here. So now, once you're done marking it, you're going to kind of come out with like an A shape. Now the length of this here is currently 22 and I'm going to maintain it. By the time I add the ruffles at the bottom of the sleeve, that will make it about 24 that I want it to be. So from the armhole here, I'm just connecting a slant towards the side, as you can see. All right, I allowed it to just go straight, and I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out. Now this is just how I went about my sleeve for this dress, as simple as it looks. Now I'm making notches at the center of the sleeve so that I can go ahead and join them with the armhole of the dress. It's actually very simple. So I'm just going to go over to the sewing machine now and attach the sleeve all the way around the armhole. I'm done fixing my sleeve and this is what it looks like. All right, I've done the exact same thing for the other side as well. So this is what this part is looking like. So now the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and join the center back. So go ahead and bring your back pieces together, just like I'm doing here, right sides facing each other. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark the area where I'm going to start my stitch from. So I'm going to join it from here, this point here that I've marked, and at the upper part here I'm going to fix my zipper. The zipper is fixed now and this is what it looks like. All right, and basically we are almost done with this dress. If it didn't have ruffles, all we had to do now was to join the side and we're good to go. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead now and align the sides. Can you see how the fabric is fraying already in the areas where I'm yet to weave? So it's very important that you actually weave this as you sew. So I'm going to leave some space before I start sewing the sleeve. I will just leave about 3 inches before I start making my stitch here because we need to add ruffles. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch down the sides. I'm done stitching it down now and this is what it looks like. Can you see how sharp our curve is looking for the flare? And now this is the opening I said I was going to leave on the sleeve. I did the exact same thing on the other side as well. This is what the back is looking like. You can see how beautiful this dress looks actually. Now I feel like this color I used was not so fine. I wish I got a better color, right? But anyways, it's all good. So now we're going to place our ruffles all the way around the curve that we had here. So first you're going to measure all the way around the curve to know how much ruffle you're going to have to cut out. So when I measured around the flare, I had about 1 foot tape and some inches, which is like almost like 70 inches in total. So now I went ahead to cut out a long fabric that is at least twice of that measurement in length. All right, you can see it's very long, and the width here I have 7 inches. Now I actually had to manage what I had left for this fabric. I told you guys at the beginning of the other video that I underestimated this dress, to be very sincere. I bought 3 yards of fabric and by the time it was time to cut out ruffles, I realized that what I had was not going to give me everything and make it full, so I had to just manage and make them look smaller. So on one side of your ruffle piece, go ahead and fold it up like this, all right? And just go ahead and make a curve towards the folded edge, just like I've done here. It's not something you have to measure or anything. Just create a curve so that the edge of one side, just one of it, so that the edge of one side looks like this, all right? So the edge of one side looks like this. For the bottom part of the dress, you have to do it for the other side, but I've not done it for the other side yet because I need to join more fabric to what I have. So for this side here, once you have done it like this, you're just going to go ahead and bring it in, fold it into two like this and start making ruffles. Now again, when it came to this ruffle, to be very sincere with you guys, I really could not understand the ruffles that was on the actual dress itself. I didn't know how to go about that part. So I just decided to make like pleats, right? This fabric is so thick you cannot even make gathers. I am very sure that was not gather and it was some type of pleats, but it was done in a different way that I just couldn't really understand at this point. So what I did was to just pleat this all the way around, and on the other edge I had to make sure to make it slimmer as well so that it becomes smaller as I come back to the center front where we have that sharp curve towards the center. I hope you understand. So now the smallest part should be at the beginning of where you're starting your stitch, and then when you go all the way around, if you need to add fabric for ruffle and everything, go ahead and add it. And when you're going back to where you started from on the other side, make sure that it is slimmer so that it has that slim effect coming in and out. I hope you understand. So yeah, I'm just going ahead to make my gathers. I'm definitely going to try to like practice on other fabrics to see how I can try to recreate that particular type of gathers. It looks very beautiful. Pleat, I mean, that particular type of pleat in the original dress looks very beautiful. But anyways, here I'm just going ahead with what I'm doing, just going ahead to make my pleats as I go around, as you can see. And please do not forget to make it slimmer as you go closer to the other edge where you're going to be joining it together again. So now guys, this is it. All right, this is what it looks like after I was done. So after I was done joining everything, I now finished up the stitch that I stopped earlier, so to make that place look finished. All right, so this is what it looks like. So now for this area, all I have to do is to just cut out a ruffle and place all the way around. And now the next one is the neckline. Now for the neckline as well, I'm going to be cutting out two pieces. You can measure the necklines separately so that you can cut the fabric for them separately. When you also cut out the ruffle for fabric for the neckline, it has to also be at least 2 times more of what you measured. All right, it should be at least. It's even better if it's more than 2 times that measurement. All right, so I've already cut out the fabric I'm going to be using for the neckline area, and you can see it was not as wide as what I had for the bottom part because, like I said, I didn't have enough fabric. This is now 5 inches wide. All right, and then the length should be at least twice the area you're going to be placing it. For the neckline, you will stitch down one side just like I did here from the inside, all right, and after which you're going to go ahead and cut the other part with the V-shape cutting I explained to you guys earlier for the other part. Now that part that we are going to stitch down first is for the back, is for the center back, because remember we have already fixed our zipper and the center back still needs to look neat. All right, so we are going to fold it like I did, which you saw, and then go ahead and cut out this front with a V shape. So this is it. This is the part I'm going to be stitching at the back. All right, it will be cut in a stitched in a fold as well, so you can start your stitch from the back like this. So you open it up from the zipper area, and then you're going to place your ruffle on like this. Okay, so you're going to start making your pleats. I'm making pleats here, right? I don't know what was done in the actual dress itself. So now this is what it looks like after I was done placing the ruffles all the way around the neckline of both sides. I made sure to weave and then also made a top stitch towards the fabric itself after I was done. So this is what it's looking like. All right, so now this is the part that we left open earlier on the neckline before we started stitching all the things together. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and finish up that stitch. All right, and then for the sleeves, I just went ahead to cut out a fabric as well and just ruffle around the sleeve. So I'm going to stitch this down nicely, and that's basically all. So after the neckline, I went ahead to fix my buttons. I actually thought I filmed this part, just realizing now that it wasn't filmed. So I just went ahead to fix my buttons on the area where we joined the neckline, as you can see here. And that was basically all for the making of this dress. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find the tutorial helpful, and I'll definitely be seeing you guys in my next one. Bye.